everybody. I'm here with David Hampson, and David is here today to teach us something very important, something that very few of you know how to do, and that is how to prune trees. I'm very curious to find out what is the proper way to prune the tree and why proper pruning is beneficial to trees.
Okay,
So
excellent.
show us
Okay.
and tell us what you know about pruning.
All right. Typically, if you're going to be working on property, you're going to be out for many hours, you're going to want to have a good pair of boots and jeans, possibly a long sleeve shirt,
Okay.
gloves, hat, sunglasses, and tools. So I have a lopper here, I have a saw over here, and if you're going to be cutting on different properties where you might have disease on trees, you want to clean your tools.
Oh, that's very important. Okay, that's
Correct.
very important because you can transmit diseases.
Correct.
Okay.
So a lot of times you can just use a common bleach, and you can just spray it on your tools, open them up, spray it on, and that's it. Not a big deal. They also sell products for it if you don't want to use bleach.
Now, tell me, I know that trees could be diseased by bugs, but are there certain viruses in trees that could also?
There are.
There are.
Especially citrus. You can look at the leaves. You can find insects on the leaves.
Okay.
Some are insects, others are disease. So it depends what the issue is.
So, do you think it would be fair to say that like people cannot share needles? How everybody should have their own clean needle. That's how every tree should have a
Same
clean
thing.
tool.
Correct.
Same thing.
Or,
Okay.
or the same tool for the same property.
Oh, okay, very good.
So,
All right.
because it'll-
So, David, we have a peach tree, and I told you the story of this peach tree. I have this tree for 10 years, and only 2 years it bear fruit, and only one peach at a time. So I'm dying to find out, well, what do we need to do, and how can we make this tree more productive?
Okay, right now I'm just going to look at the tree. I see a little bit of, looks like borers were here before. It's definitely a factor to look at. If there's one branch, I'll just cut that off, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different areas right here.
So we might have to amputate parts of the tree. right?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. That's what I'm looking at. It might look a little bit odd for next year, but it'll grow back.
Okay. But we definitely want to bring the tree to its optimal health. So if we need to remove some branches, we'll do that. And what else do you see when you look at this tree?
Overall, it has a lot of growth, so we want to thin it out. If I thin it out, it'll make the tree a little healthier because it won't have so much vegetation to support. And also, if it's going to have peaches, hopefully it will, that if it doesn't have so many branches, it'll put more of the energy towards the peaches instead of the rest of the tree.
Okay, very good. So looking at this tree, you said we have a lot of small branches growing out.
Correct.
Okay, we also have some of the new growth that you mentioned that we need to take that off, right?
Correct. I call these suckers.
Okay.
And you just want to cut them off at the ground level and
Okay.
take them all the way off. Everything else, I'll just start to trim in one area and just go around.
So
One thing I can explain too is right here, these are your buds. So if you cut, wherever you cut, that's where a branch is going to come out, or a leaf. Right now it's hard to tell. I would say there'd be more branches, but if I was to cut right here, then this right here is going to grow. If I cut here, then this is going to grow. So if I cut here, it's very self-explanatory.
explain to us again, David.
Okay.
You have all these little buds, and you said you're choosing which bud you're gonna
Correct.
cut it. Show us again.
Yeah, right now this branch you could pick a spot anywhere, but I'm going to just bring it in since we're reducing the branches.
Okay.
And this one here should just grow up here, so I'm going to cut it right outside this bud, about a half an inch away.
So this
this'll
will give
come up.
opportunity to this bud to grow, right?
Yeah, it'll come up here.
Okay, very good.
So, and then this up above, it's pretty good. I'm just going to drop it down. See, I'll take this one off and then put another spot right there.
David, can you explain to kids why do we need to prune trees? I mean, obviously you said it's easier for tree to exist because it doesn't have to feed too many branches. It keeps the plant healthier. But why else?
Also because it stimulates growth. If you do not cut your trees, they won't really do much. This stimulates the whole tree to grow the next season. So right now it's getting into growing season, which would be actually they can actually have leaves if it's a hot year right now in March, but next month, April, everything will be growing. So this just kind of lets the tree know that it's ready to grow. I don't know exactly how that works, but when you trim the whole tree lightly, it stimulates growth. If you
Very
don't trim
interesting.
the trees at all, they really don't do much.
So one reason is to stimulate the growth,
Correct.
stimulate the health, stimulate the fruit production, or at least have a healthier and bigger fruits. Correct? And would you say also to be able to make tree more accessible?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
If you have a tree with a lot of vegetation, you cannot really get inside to even get the fruit. Maybe you'll break branches and have more issues there.
Okay.
And if you don't prune a lot too, there's times you will have such an abundance of fruit, but it'll all be small.
Okay, very good. That's something that's going on with the peach tree that's right behind you. It bears abundantly, but the fruit is very small.
Right here, you can see the bright red.
Yes,
And
which
then
is a
here
new
is-
growth, right?
This is what just grew last season.
Okay.
And this was the year before. You can see it's larger and then also a different color.
So do we need to bother with this branch, or what would you do to
We
it
don't really
this
have
year?
to. I'm just going to trim it right where the previous cut was.
Oh, okay. I
Because
see.
right now we're just trying to have the tree a little more healthy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just cut right where the other one was. Now this stuff you don't want branches growing into the tree.
Okay.
Just like this stuff is growing straight up, so I'm gonna just take those off.
So those are definite go.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want the branches to come out, but you don't want the branches coming straight up the center of the tree or going right into the tree, going across.
David, you've been doing this for quite a long time.
I have, since I've been probably around 10 years old.
I understand that our video might look silly, but I also believe that learning such a skill is very important. So I wanted to record it and have it out there available for kids who might want to learn how to prune trees. After all, as long as there are people, there will always be need for fruit.
And they do have small hand trimmers too that a lot of people use. I don't have one handy, but it's just a pair of trimmers that you can have with your hand for the little branches.
So would this be good for kids as a starting
Oh, definitely.
tool for children?
Yeah, you could have kids out here with you and just kind of have fun trimming the little branches, and yeah, they'd love it.
A great family activity, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
Everybody
definitely
will
enjoyable.
benefit.
And then they can see the fruit later, and that they helped the tree, that they shaped the tree and helped provide energy to the tree by pruning it for stimulating the tree.
And in return, the tree will provide for kids.
Exactly.
Fruit tree, it's about $25 a plant, isn't it?
Yeah, they vary depending on where you purchase them, but they're not expensive. You can actually get fruit trees with 5-year-old rootstock. So when you plant them, they will grow extremely fast and be producing the first year.
Wow.
Compared to a tree that's just a stick that you plant, and it takes roughly 5 years depending on the variety of the tree.
So this is
to
a small
produce.
investment compared to, years of harvesting fruits and having fun with your kids.
Definitely,
Right.
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
it's
all right,
family.
children, if your parents won't do it, then you just make them do it. Just say we have to go and buy a fruit tree and plant whatever that is that can grow in your neighborhood.
So right now we have a great example of multiple branches growing in one area. And so I like this branch to keep it because it's growing away from the 3 branches. And I'm going to cut the middle branch out so it gives the other 2 branches a little more room. And then I'm going to cut the branch below so we'll have more room for the branches to expand. And then I'm just going to cut a little bit off of these. That's about it. I'll just trim some of these.
So David here is in a big dilemma. We're trying to figure out if we need to remove these big branches from the tree, because our hope was that upper parts of the tree would be healthy enough to sustain itself, but it appears that not just the bottom or the lower part is damaged or infected, but also upper branches are too. And you can see on this branch here, this branch is in a really, really bad shape. So you can almost see the core of the tree, and it sounds hollow and dry.
Correct.
So it's amazing that it produces any growth past this point. So we will leave it to Dr. David to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, we're going to cut it below where the infestation starts. So it starts right here and goes up the whole tree. So I'm going to go a couple inches below, and then right here it starts about here. So I'm going to start here, and we're going to work the branches to grow out. We can slowly have those pruning the next couple of years to fill in this area because the tree is going to be missing the branches here. But if we don't cut them, then it can spread throughout the whole tree.
David, do you think the trees know when they're being cut? Do you think they feel anything while we do this to them?
I hope not.
All right, kids. It makes me wonder because they say that even plants can sense the danger and they vibrate differently. So I'm wondering if they're feeling any of this.
I hope they're having smiles like a haircut. They're getting a nice haircut.
Okay.
After cutting the tree, it's very important to protect exposed area. One of the reasons would be loss of sap, bugs, or just from drying out. And I remember my grandmother used to use wax for this kind of stuff. But today you can find all kinds of liquids and paints for the same purpose. I'm sure you can see the difference between where we started and where we are now.
Your parents had how many trees when you were growing up?
Around 4,500, 4,000. We had lemons, we had oranges, and then we had grapefruit. And then for the fruit trees, we had peaches, plums, nectarines, apricots, apples. We had fig trees.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else. We tried kiwis. They didn't do so well.
Okay.
We had berries after that. We had some red and blackberries.
So you grew that too?
And then
Gardening? Did you garden too?
We had some tomatoes.
Okay.
And then you have a persimmon tree here. We had 100 persimmon trees.
Oh.
So.
So I always feel, and this is just me, I feel that if you help kids grow around the nature, you can grow better kids or better
Definitely.
human beings. Now, what I just learned about David is that he works a lot with the foster children. So you're just a living proof that growing up the way you did, tending to your trees, tending to being part of your family, working with your family and being part of something bigger and taking care of things, even if it's something as simple as a tree, teaches you to care for others.
Definitely.
And you see, this is now showing in your life where now you work with foster children. So tell us about that.
That's true. I got into working with foster kids from a friend of mine years ago. My dad died when I was young, in the middle of working with all of these trees, and my mom said, "David, do you want to, well, think about it. Either we're gonna have to sell the property, and we're gonna have to move, or you're gonna have a lot more responsibility." And I said, "I don't need to think about it. I've thought about it now. I want to stay here."
And how old were you this time?
I was about 12.
Oh my goodness.
So I learned from a young age.
So you lost your dad when you were 12.
Correct. Yeah,
and you
right
had
before.
to choose either giving up or you fight and you work.
Correct.
And you chose to stay.
Definitely, and it was a good thing. It was right before 8th grade graduation, so it was a tough time being a child. But then I had a friend of mine, and he said, he was like a big brother or a /father figure in my life.
Okay, so like a mentor.
A mentor, correct.
Okay.
And then he kind of guided me, and I had other people guide me, and then I went into small churches, and it was good to be around a community.
It's a community.
So,
okay.
Definitely.
I love the story because I invited David to prune my tree. I had no idea. I'm hearing this for the first time, and it's amazing to learn things about you from your childhood. So, hard work, perseverance, community, mentoring, having good people around you.
Correct.
Okay, these are all important things that raise a healthy child, and this is what we are all about. Incorporating all these ingredients into creating an environment in which we can raise more young men like yourself.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And we will keep you posted on our tree. We will follow the growth.
Sounds good.
And what happens if that tree does not grow? What are we going to do then?
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you, and I think I'll probably be back if it doesn't grow.
Okay, well.
But no, I'll be looking forward to see that tree flourish.
I'm looking forward to at least 3 peaches.
Let's go,
One for
let's go
each.
4.
4. Okay.